Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nurul Akila binti Ciat. Matrix number 33DIB20F1004. So today my teammates and I will present about our business project. The title is Credit Risk from Islamic Bank and Conventional Bank. Our supervisor name is Dr. Nur Azwar binti Ahmad Zulkifli. So next slide is my group members, which is me myself, also Ana Shakira binti Abdul Aziz, and Izzatu Jannah binti Cik Kamruddin. Now, let's start with introduction. Our business project is about credit risk in Islamic Bank and Conventional Bank. Islamic banking in Malaysia began in September 1963 when Perbadanan Wang Simpanan Bakal Haji (PWSBH) was established. So the first Islamic bank in Malaysia was established in 1983. In 1993, commercial bank and merchants bank and finance company were allowed to offer Islamic banking product and services under the Islamic banking scheme (IBS). These institutions, however, are required to separate the funds and activities of Islamic banking transaction from that of the conventional banking business to ensure that there will not be any commingling of funds. The list of banks in Malaysia offering Islamic products have grown to 60 banks. Apart from bank, other non-bank intermediaries offering Sharia-based products are Malaysia Building Society Berhad, MBSB, and cooperative registered under the Cooperative Commission of Malaysia (SKM). In Malaysia, the National Sharia Advisory Council additionally set up at Bank Negara Malaysia, advise BNM on the Sharia aspect of the operation of this institution as well as on their product and services. Otherwise, in conventional banking system, it is much longer than the Islamic bank. The conventional bank is based on full-fledged intermediary model that lends borrowers to suppliers and then loans to companies or individuals. They provide marginal interest rates between loans rates and loan. They also provide banking service such as credit cards and guarantees. Conventional banks are prohibited from trading and their assets are heavily restricted to a small portion of their net worth. For conventional bank financial activities, they are mainly based on interest. Conventional bank essentially pay their customer if they pay more to the bank. However, their rental product require a more detailed explanation of the rental section. As a result, financial transactions from trusted bank are not authorized by Sharia. However, their transaction service such as transfer, authorized service charge, and etc. are contrary to the principle of Sharia law. The list of conventional bank in Malaysia is 26 banks. Now we move on to the problem statement. Credit risk is a very important risk in banking system. It is normally defined as the probability of a borrower in default a loan commitment in the banking system. Credit risk involves the inability or failure of the one party to meet its obligation as agreed upon signing the contract. Credit risk exists in all products that the bank offer to the customer, and each bank have a different risk depending the way they manage the risk. Credit risk is one of the main risks that seriously affect banks when financial crisis in 1997 happened. To fill in the gap, this study attempts to analyze credit risk determination among the 26 conventional banks and 60 Islamic banks in Malaysia for the period of 2020.
Next, I will continue to the next slide, that is objective of business project. Firstly, to identify size that effect to credit risk. Secondly, to determine level ROA against credit risk. And thirdly, to recognize leverage opposed to credit risk. Next is scope of business project. This scope of research is focused on banks in Malaysia, which include Islamic banks and conventional bank, where Islamic bank has 16 banks in Malaysia, while conventional bank has 26 banks in Malaysia. Also, this study focused on behalf of credit risk, size, ROA, and also leverage. Next, I will continue to the limitation of business project. The limitation of the study is in terms of the time allotted to find the data of each bank in Malaysia. In addition to finding the data of each bank one by one, as many as 42 banks we need to analyze one by one to find the financial statement in the annual report, referring to the data at Bank Negara Malaysia.
For our literature review, in our proposal planning is to represent with the theoretical core of an article, background and justification to the objective and hypothesis that guide in this research. And some of the concepts used in the study consist of unreliability, insecurity, less performance and cost to effectiveness of the traditional attendance system. After that, for our proposal planning, we have a credit risk, return on assets, leverage, and size. And firstly, for credit risk is a possibility for that some of the financial institution, especially when it's loan, that it will increase in value and may become worthless. This reflects to the possibility of loss in the case of failure in the business partner. In this situation, it can be considered as a failure to fulfill obligation under the term of a contract, which is result in creditor business focusing on managing risk. Small Islamic bank tend to be more financially stable than conventional bank. Conventional bank are better than large Islamic bank and aspect, and expectedly, the small Islamic bank are financially stronger than the large Islamic one. And in general, the Islamic bank have a different capital structure compared to the conventional bank.
Now, I will continue the other proposal planning written on asset. It is a ratio that illustrates a business capacity to generate net income by examining the business operational activities that describe the asset in getting company profit. Thirdly is leverage. So leverage is a capital structure is likely to affect credit risk. Highly leveraged capital leads to tendency to higher risk taking because of the need to produce higher returns with lower capital. Since financial risk increase with leverage, a positive relationship between a banking firm risk and leverage is expected. Lastly is size. Under the too big to fail presumption, larger banks take excessive risk because market discipline is not imposed by their creditors, who expect government protection in the event of a bank failure. Such literature bases its analysis of the theoretical argument of diversification by size. This could indicate that larger banks are more diversified and are likely to be more skilled in risk management, enabling them to deal more effectively with bad borrowers. So now we move on to the next slide, which is justification. So this section displays the result comparing the difference factor determining credit risk between Islamic bank and conventional bank. We only use or study this finding against LEV, size and ROA.
Next, I will tell you about situational analysis, which is SWOT for the Islamic bank and conventional bank. I will go first to SWOT of Islamic bank. First strength of Islamic bank is interest-free banking, which is financing is not interest or riba oriented and should be based on risk and reward sharing. Next strength is speed of service delivery by providing fast service for customer satisfaction and attracting customers. And lastly is the quality of special service by providing the best service for customers. Next, I move to the weakness. First is more expensive financing because of the transaction cost and the way it's set up. Next weakness is shorter working hours, and last weakness is small numbers of ATMs because in Malaysia we only have 16 Islamic banks. For Islamic bank opportunities, we have a different set of products or innovative, which is Islamic bank has many more products that are better and very useful. Next opportunity is Muslim population in Islamic banks. Thus, they will understand more about Islamic bank than non-Muslims. Last opportunities is growing economy in Islamic bank, where Islamic banks are currently very widespread and known by the public. Lastly, for threats is a system of taxes and laws that are very strict and controlled and cannot be violated. Second threats is environment for Islamic banking, and lastly, microcredit organizations as competitors. Next, I will move to the SWOT of conventional bank. First strength of conventional bank is real-time communication and faster decision making. Secondly, a social enterprise network on public cloud. And lastly, to improve productivity, server capacity utilization. For weakness of conventional bank is due to security and regulatory concerns. The bank could not implement the system on public cloud. It had to implement it on a private cloud and host it internally. Next is opportunities, which is improve face-to-face communication through video for internal users and with customers. And secondly, use linked for real-time communication with customers. Lastly is threats, which is a need for bandwidth capability to meet the video communication and data transfer needs of the bank. Next is methodology. First methodology is research design. We are using quantitative method research, which is we find financial statement every bank in Malaysia in website according Bursa Malaysia.
And next, for sampling design, so all the data and financial statement of the conventional bank were taken in the website of Bank Negara Malaysia. And we take all the 26 of conventional bank and calculate the credit risk, size, leverage and return of asset. So take the data about Islamic bank in website Bank Negara Malaysia too. They have 16 Islamic bank and some of it is Alvin Islamic Bank Berhad, Alien Islamic Bank Berhad, Bank Islamic Bank Berhad and many more. We also calculate the credit risk, leverage, return of asset and the size in the Islamic banking. Next for data collection, and the data was from the income statement and balance sheet of 16 Islamic bank and 26 conventional bank for 2020 was used in this study. So we have leverage, size, return of asset and credit risk. For leverage is measured by total liabilities divided by total bank in a year. And second, return of asset (ROA) was measured as a net income divided total asset divided by total asset. And second last was size. Size was measured by natural log of total asset back in a year. And lastly, in credit risk is measured by non-performing loans to total loan of bank in a year. And lastly, for the data analysis, we have collect and analyze all the data of financial statement for bank, Islamic banking and conventional bank and compile it to the and turn it into the Microsoft Excel. And this is our Gantt chart from week 1 until week 16. This is our reference that we got from the article that we have searched.